We're at the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture Research Station in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Today we're going to be demonstrating and showing the construction of commercial strawberry beds. Here to lay commercial strawberry beds for us today is David Brown, the owner and operator of Brown's Berry Farm outside of Springfield, Missouri. David?
How you doing, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good, good.
One of the demonstrations that we're doing in this project is showing the potential differences in production and quality of strawberries raised on commercial strawberry beds and those raised on small vegetable beds. And one thing that we want to do today is ask David some questions as a strawberry grower and as someone that does contract bed laying. David, could you tell us a little bit about what you feel the differences are between raising strawberries on a large 8 to 10 inch strawberry bed and beds that are smaller, do not have as much soil under cover?
Well, one of the first things we'll like to think is the taller beds will gather more heat, and that has an early will give you an earlier crop in the spring. And then also, the taller the bed, it keeps the fruit up away from the ground for rain splash, has a cleaner fruit. And then also, from what we hear from the customers, they like it being up high. It's easier to pick, and it's easier to see when it's a taller bed. Makes it easier on them.
Sure. Some of the things that come to mind too, if you're actually paying people to pick strawberries for you with the taller bed, it may be a little easier and a little quicker for them to get the same amount of fruit, saving you money. Right,
that's true. That's true.
And maybe so you think there may be some with the taller beds, there may be some little less disease problems with the taller strawberry beds?
Yeah, I think there's less disease because you get more airflow down through the beds. They're, like I say, they're up off the ground where they're not getting, the fruit's not getting as wet, and and more heat.
Sure.
More heat gives you a little more yields than a regular lower bed would.
One thing I'm noticing is these beds, they have a little bit of bevel or a pitch to the top of the bed. Is that standard with commercial strawberry beds?
Yes, and this particular machine here has what they call a crown in the inside the bedder that lets the water drain off. And if you look here, you'll see we've put we've put 2 passes in there, and probably the third pass are to go ahead and pack the ground in better so that groove fills up there, and then it'll firm the bed up.
Kind of getting in talking more about the machine, when you go to lay your beds or beds for someone else, what are some tips you could give potential growers before you come to their farm to lay beds, or just general tips to make a quality bed?
Well, you want to have your ground plowed good and deep, and then tilled, and then it doesn't hurt if you go over it with a solid shank ripper or a subsoiler to break that hard pan up, because you can see here, it takes a lot of dirt to make an 8-inch bed, so therefore you're going to have to work your ground a lot deeper. You have to think past just normal farming of where it's just plant, for seed. You're going to have to get the ground down deep in order to have enough dirt to gather a good bed.
Okay. Now, looking at your machine here, would you mind tell us what kind of machine this is?
This particular machine here is a 2600 rain flow. It's capable of making an 8-inch bed, and it comes out of Pennsylvania. It's got a row tracker here on the back to kind of help hold it straighter behind the tractor if you're on a hillside or something. That's supposed to help straighten that out. It has a fumigation attachment if you want to fumigate your soil, and it carries 2 rolls of plastic, so you don't have to, you have more plastic for less trips back to the other end.
This seems like a pretty big machine right here. what kind of horsepower does it take to pull this machine?
Well, the manufacturer, in their book, they say you need a 90 horsepower tractor if it's two-wheel drive. If it's four-wheel drive with front wheel, you know, then 50 horse would be what you would need. This particular tractor here is 65 horse with front wheel assist. It handles it just fine, but then on the other hand, you have to weight the front end. So as you pick a machine up, it'll want to daylight the front tire, so you'll need a little bit of weight on the front on these 5000 series tractors, but as far as the horsepower, it handles it just fine.
Okay. One of the questions that I have is, I'm just throwing this out there, how much acreage would you have to have, in your opinion, to justify investing in a machine like this?
Well, that I'm not sure about that. We currently have 4 acres, and probably if I could get somebody to come and do it in a timely manner, maybe I wouldn't even own a machine. But you know, you can't always get somebody when you need them, and if you're going to be in the business and paying somebody $1,000, $1,200 an acre to lay plastic, you'd just as well try to own your own equipment.
On the larger mulch laying equipment, what kind of price are we talking about, just in general, to kind of let people know what kind of investment this could be?
I think it would probably, I haven't checked the prices lately, but I would imagine with fumigation and attachments, probably in the $7,000 range, I would think. That's just roughly guessing.
Okay. So, I think what we're going to have, we should have a lot of people interested in strawberries, and they may be a lot of people like me that, are going to be doing smaller retail plots. Do you have any advice for them about forming their beds and machinery and stuff? I mean, whether it might be better to get someone to come in and do this, or could those people get by with less expensive, smaller equipment?
Yes. Yeah, they have a little smaller, better than this. This is, you can go a lot less than this, but at the same time, you probably, in the beginning, you might want to hire somebody else to do it to save the expense of that. Give yourself a couple, 3 years till you get a little bit of income, decide that's what you really want to do. You're better off probably to hire somebody. But then on the other hand, if you're going to be in the business, you'd probably want to get your own equipment eventually.
Right. I think one other question I have, and I'm asking this because I do a little bit of bed laying myself with substantially smaller equipment. It takes a lot of skill to be able to use this equipment to its full potential, I think. And there's a learning curve with using the bedding equipment to do a proper job, and I mean, I'm sure you can attest to that too. Right.
Yeah, we've been doing this, I think, for nearly 18 years. In the first couple of years, it was kind of a nightmare to learn the equipment and find out what you were, the troubleshooting it, I guess would be the word, to trying to get everything lined out. Use breaking plastic or one thing or another, and a lot of it has to do with tension on the rollers or the pitch up and down of the machine. Once you get those two things lined out, that helps quite a bit there.
It sounds like if someone's serious about getting into the plastic laying, whether it be for strawberries or vegetables or whatever, or sound like if they could go to a workshop or a class, it would probably really benefit them.
I know that there's a couple of meetings a year here in Arkansas that they have, and it would be well to go, especially on the day they demonstrate equipment, because you can get hints from the guys that's already laying it, and you can talk to somebody ahead of time. It'll help line out a lot of potential problems later when you're on your own.
Okay. Dave, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up in general, or specifically about the equipment and the bed laying?
No, that's about all I've got, I think.
Okay. Well, we sure appreciate your time.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.